This sorted. Okay. Hmm. Hi guys, I'm Daddy Freeze, convener of the Free the Sheeple movement and leader of the Free Nation in Christ. I greet you and I bring glad tidings. I did say I was going to have a special guest at 7 o'clock. Mike Abdul. I did say I was going to have a special guest at 7 o'clock. And my special other than the Accord Party presidential candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who is in love with education. Ladies and gentlemen, a man whose resume is scary with regards to education. He needs no introduction, so let me present him to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Christopher Imumolen. Did I get the pronunciation of your name, sir?
Yes, you got it right. Professor Christopher Imumolen.
Imumolen.
Yes.
Are you from?
Yes. I'm from Edo State, Ishan West, Epoma, Nigeria. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. You see, I'm reading through your resume, and I can see that education is like your number one priority. And that touched a chord because you cannot become president and ASU be on strike like this.
Never.
If you value education this much, I'm sure all our children who have been sitting at home for the last how many months are going to be happy to hear from you. Welcome to my platform. I'm Daddy Freeze, and nice to meet you. Let's get to know you a little bit better with regards to your upbringing, with regards to your early life. Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Okay. My name is Professor Christopher Imumolen. I was born into a polygamous home. My dad is High Homogbe, Stephen Imumolen. You know, I was born in Lagos, Mushin precisely, the very rough part of Lagos. Yeah.
So, one of the things, before you even continue with your story, one of the things the Nigerian youth right now want to hear is, are you a youth?
Of course. I'm 39. I'm 39 years.
That means you're even younger than me.
No, of course, because youth, by network, by definition, I think in Nigerian context, once you are above 45 or 40, you are no more a youth. So, so practically speaking, I'm the only youth that is running for presidency come 2023. Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, the stakes, I said it, this presidential election is going to be sweet. The stakes are high and the youths are ably represented. So let's talk about your scary education. In 39 years, you have amassed 2 PhDs and 4 master's degrees. Do you read when you are sleeping?
It was quite very difficult for me to attain a degree. I lost my father at the age of 12. And, from a polygamous home and having to get a degree, it was very difficult. My first degree was in University of Benin, and I knew how difficult it was for me to earn a first degree in mechanical engineering. In short, I was so poor then that I never got an handout until I got to 400 level. There was a time I wanted to borrow a textbook from someone, a friend of mine, and I said, borrow me your textbook. I'll give you my ID card in case you want to identify me. And the guy said, Chris, we don't need your ID card. We know your shirt. Because I was always on a shirt, on a particular shirt. Yes, that was how, so that was how bad it was, you know. But I got a degree and I said to myself that this thing called education, I must read it and read it to the end of it. I must see the end of education. So that was the motive. So when God started blessing us, I moved. I was so focused, and now I know I'm not done because if there's anything above Professor Emeritus, I believe before I get to 45, I should be one. So my quest for education is basically based on my background. It was difficult for me, and I said to myself, I was going to see the end of education itself.
Hey, wow, wow, wow. This one I don't understand. When I read it in your resume, I was a bit scared. You have 4 universities. How? Please explain.
Okay, I have 3 universities and I have multiple institutions. We started with JPTS Institute. Is a professional institution that is focused in oil and gas. I've served as the president onshore offshore oil and gas professionals in Nigeria. I've also served as technical advisor to Akwa Ibom State on oil and gas monitoring and implementation. I've worked as a technical specialist to NOSPECO in Kuwait as the safety person, especially oil and gas. So when we started, I discovered a lacuna in the oil and gas industry, that this thing today that we talk about, the oil PIB bill, have been on it for the past many years, because I discovered that many Nigerians do not have competence in the oil and gas industry. So there was a need for a training and retraining for Nigerians. So that was why we set up JPTS Institute, which later became one of the best safety training institutes in Nigeria. So the quest to learn, then we looked at it, we discovered that, oh, even in Nigerian school, we have a lot of people take JAM, but the Nigerian university can only take about 15 or 20% of them. What happens to the millions of those who write JAM every year? Then we started looking at how do we set up university. We tried to set up a university in Nigeria. We discovered the political route, you require, because in Nigeria, for a university to be set up, the president must assign to it. The president of the country must assent to it. As a matter of fact, there must be a fake meeting, like the federal executive meeting, must be held before the university can be given a license. So it means that even when you have the criteria, you must also have the political will. So that makes us start thinking. So we start moving outside Nigeria. We set up a university in Togo called Global Watch University, because countries like that, once you have the criteria, you don't need to know anybody. You get your license. So we also had one in Costa Rica called South Amazon University. So easy. Within 6 months and 8 months, we established a university. And in California, we established Pan American College. University could be established outside Nigeria within 8 months. In as much as you have the funding, you have what it takes. You have the curriculum, But in Nigeria, before now, we've been established. We have 100 hectares of land in somewhere in Ota. We started projects, but for the past 12 years, we are still on it for Nigeria. So it tells you that in Nigeria, you might have the fund, you might have what it takes, but sometimes in some industry, if you don't have the political will, you might not just get it. So we set this up, and that has become a tool to helping Nigerians to earn educational scholarship. So you see, most of our schools are attended by Nigerians. You'll be very surprised that 80% of students in Ghana, in Togo, in Benin Republic, in their university are Nigerians. Those countries earn so much from Nigerian educational migration. People who could not gain admission to universities in JAM. Those who are frustrated. You see them migrating to West African countries, even Sierra Leone, Gambia, and the rest of them. You see a lot of Nigerians studying there. So we also took that opportunity. We started setting up universities, majorly for Nigerians who are disenfranchised, who could not afford. And we made sure that the school fees was the same as federal universities. So if you cannot attend Nsukka, which is paying like 70,000, you can attend the Professor Chris University on almost 90% scholarship. And believe me, for the past 12 years, we've guided over 500,000 students from this educational system. Yes. And most of them, 90% of them, studied through the program on scholarship. Because it was difficult for me to go to school. And I just said, there may be so many persons out there who could be going through the same difficulty I went through. Then why should I not give that platform for them? And for me, education is very critical. And I know you have a lot of things. Let me just tell you one of the things I've done. Even some of our schools now have been opened for free for Nigerian students who are currently at home because of ASU strike. Yes. As in recently, yes, I've opened a portal, an online school for all Nigerian students who are currently at home to get the login, go in and study. It's about $9,000 waiver for them to just study and get themselves busy rather than waiting for federal government and ASU to resolve the problem. I understand what education means to nation building. And for me, I've been demonstrating this give back for the past 12 years, with or without being a part of the political systems in Nigeria.
Let us talk about your work at Unique Foundation and its impact since inception. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, for me, giving is inherent. Giving is not just about the amount of money you have. It's about your heart. If you're a giver, even if you can give the last amount of money you have. And if you watch it, usually givers are the most criticized people in the world, because when you want to give, you attract more people to yourself. And when you are unable to satisfy everybody, those that you give and those that you did not give might become a potential critics to you. So yeah, when we set up Unique Foundation, I initially set it up because of my mom. My mom became a widow at 39 years. So I saw how she went through the rigor of training 6 children without an husband. I saw the struggle she went through. And when God started blessing us, I set up Unique Foundation, first for women. So we focused more on women, widows, single mothers, and women who could not actually afford a life. And what we're doing was to train them on different skills and support them financially, privately, without government fund. So we were doing that, and we set up some part of our profits from the oil and gas business, from the real estate business, from the school business, and we use that yearly to supporting them. And in 2019, I wanted to do it bigger. So I said I was going to empower 1 million Nigerians in training them on business and also supporting them financially. That was when we set up one of the biggest empowerment programs. And we're able to empower about 6,000 people before the coronavirus came on board. We're able to train people all over Nigeria. We had over 4 million applications. But from the 4 million, we're able to pick 6,000, train them, and provide them with a seed capital between 200,000 to 5 million, depending on the kind of business proposal. So this was done individually by me. And I wasn't doing it then because I had a high for politics. I was just doing it out of love for Nigeria, out of the love for Black race. And may you know that the Unique Foundation is not just in Nigeria. We've expanded to Togo, to Ghana, to Benin Republic, to Sierra Leone. I see the way Africans live. And sometimes, when we travel to other part of the world. We know what African has and the little way we can contribute back home to making sure that at least we have an edge to compete globally. So rather than castigating government and saying, oh, government is not doing this or doing that, why can't you look at what you can also provide individually? So Unique Foundation becomes that platform where we started seeing how we can give back to the society. So whenever we find a project that is deemed fit, for example, some villages wrote to us that they've not had electricity for the past 100 years. So and we went there, and God help us, we were able to set up transformers, draw the lines for them, and we're able to power a whole village in Kajola, Aton, Iboro in Ogun State. We've done that for a couple of villages. Just where can we support? Where are the challenges? So with Unique Foundation, we've been able to give out a lot of scholarship. We have unique schools. It's a primary school and secondary school where we also provide scholarship for children. I personally believe that what we'll be remembered for is what we do. At the end of our time, we are going to leave, and our impact would be what have we been able to do? What lives have we been able to impact with the little or more resources that have been given to us? And I also have a philosophy that once you start having more than $1 billion, once you're a billionaire, that means, for me, that is my philosophy. I might be wrong, but that is my philosophy, and I enjoy that philosophy. That once you start having once you are regarded as a billionaire, the money is no more your money. God has deposited the wealth of a generation to you. That is my belief. I know, and that it frees you. You'll be looking at this topic critically because of your person, and I know the way you know.
No,
but that is my belief.
You see, let me tell you something here. You have for about 10, 15 minutes, and people are falling in love with you. Forget all the ones that are, because you need to understand that the solution to Nigeria's problem is education for all. One thing that is definitely going to be a major impediment for you is power, just as it is for every other presidential candidate. Our dear brother Peter is currently in Egypt trying to figure out the power situation. What is how do you, or how are you going to tackle the electricity situation, the power situation in Nigeria, should you win that presidential seat?
Okay, let me tell you. Well, I'm going to engage in positive campaign. I'm not going to start looking at what this candidate is doing. Power problem do not need anybody to go anywhere to study. Sorry. Our problem with power in Nigeria is policy problem. Yes. See, you do not monopolize a sector that is a necessity for development. We must not create monopoly in the power sector. One, you must allow investor to come into Nigeria. Nigeria is still one of the few countries in Africa or West Africa that still suffer power outage, especially in major cities. I have a school in Togo, I have a school in Ghana, I have business in West African countries, and I see how smaller countries, why? You must open up, liberalize that sector, allow investors to come in. In Nigeria, you cannot generate the power except you get a license, and it's very rigid. You cannot distribute power except you are either a disco or you are either Ikeja Power Electric. But no, they've sold and they've monopolized that sector. I know the sector and I understand the problem there. The major solution, one, is to liberalize that sector, allow investors to come in and call those who have invested in the sector, especially the distributors, the distributing companies, call them on a roundtable meeting, let them understand that their investment is safe. See, let me tell you one thing. Many persons would not understand that there is a gain when you allow more players come into a sector than allowing fewer people remain in that sector and allowing stiff regulation to keep the nation at bay. There's a gain when we allow more people come into a sector, a financial gain for them. We have over 200 million Nigerians. I can tell you, with power, we still provide less than 4,000. Some people say, oh, we have 10,000 megawatts. I consult for a company that is owned by Elon Musk. A company by Elon Musk alone is providing over 32,000 megawatts. The richest man in India, Mukesh Ambani, just a company has over 100,000 megawatts. A company, Nigeria as a nation cannot boast of more than 6,000 megawatts of power. We can do it. The problem with the power industry is simple. It's not hard. We do not monopolize a sector that will provide a national development. Power is critical. We must liberalize that sector and allow more investors. They have options. Green energy power that will encourage zero carbon emission. Let me tell you, I was the Secretary General to West African Sustainable Energy Professionals. That is a commission that was set up by AU. No, those are not part of mine. So I am a detailed energy person. I understand, not just, I'm a professor at my age. And I'm not just a professor that only read books. I'm a professor who have excelled even in business. So if Nigeria is looking for a young person who understands this industry, who can make things work, and myself. So liberalize it, open, allow more people come in. And you will see that in 2 years, power seas will become a thing of the past. That is it. When you liberalize it, you have more technology to help our power industry. That is it. The problem with power is policy problem. Yeah.
Wow. You did answer that question very well. I'm sure most people agree with me that when it comes to power, you nailed it. Of course, the practicality of what you just said and the Nigerian factor that can be a huge stumbling block, preventing you from implementing the idea into reality might be there, but at least you have the idea. There's another problem Nigeria has, Prof. And this problem has plagued Nigeria almost as long as electricity. We're talking of the Bakassi boys, Boko Haram, Fulani herdsmen, the unknown gunmen, and the situation crisis in general. I don't know if you remember a man known as Lawrence Anini.
Yeah, I know him. He's from Benin.
Yes. He was a notorious armed robber in the 80s.
Yes.
So Nigeria has had security issues, or should I say insecurity, from the 80s. What is your plan? How do you intend to tame this wild horse called insecurity? Just the way you gave out your plans for the power sector, I want to hear your plan for security.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. See, security is one of the biggest monster faced, insecurity rather, is one of the biggest monster faced with our nation. And if we don't get it right in the next 4 years, believe me, Nigeria is going to retrogress down 100 years backward. And let me tell you, in 2015, Nigeria will become a population of 1 billion people. In 2050, we are not even looking at that. And the hardship might become so enormous if we don't start planning towards it. One of the biggest problems with Nigeria is lack of adequate resources allocation to the general masses. When you live in a toxic environment, what I mean by that is this: we are in a country where we no longer have a middle class. What we have is the higher and the lower class. When we live in a society whereby 90% of the resources is shared among 5% of the people, and 5% of the resources is shared among 95% of the people, that makes that environment a toxic environment. It makes the people carnivorous. They start eating themselves, not because they are wicked, but because they now strive for survival. If you ever rear fish, you discover that once you starve your fish with food, they start eating themselves, right? Not because they naturally would want to eat themselves, but they might start eating themselves because there's scarcity of resources. The problem with Nigeria is the unfair distribution of resources. Once a leader comes in and he ensures that there is fairness, justice, and has a body language to suit every ethnic, there will be balancing. Nigerians are not wicked people. Nigerians are not terrible people. Nigerians are good people, but we are only reacting to the scarce resources that we are exposed with. So we need to look, how do we now ensure that Nigeria are fairly treated? Number one, let's look at, because to solve security problem is a multifaceted approach. It's not just one thing you're going to do. One, we must tackle the mother that gave birth to insecurity. There's a mother. Insecurity, you see, they are children of a mother. One of the mother is economic hardship. Have you traveled to the north? Have you traveled to states like Ekiti State? Go to places like Boeing, go to places like Aramoko, Efualaye, go to places like Jos, go to places. See, there is hardship in the land. And once there's hardship, it becomes an excuse for people to take up crime. Yes, it becomes an excuse for people to take up. So one, how do we ensure that we provide employment for Nigerians? You know, we have an administration that believes that agriculture is going to provide job. No, technology will provide more job for us. You know, digitalization of the economy will provide more job for us. Why? We must first and foremost, I said this many times, Nigerians, we are not even prepared. We are not preparing for what we are going to be confronting. Our security apparatus are not welfareized. They are not taken care of. And in security, let me say this, if you don't properly take care of your security architecture, they might naturally work for the very thief they are supposed to protect you against. In security, you, as government, you only avoid the situation, because before a crime can come to be, two things must happen. One is the desire to commit crime, and two is opportunity to commit crime. It is only God that stops desire to commit crime, but it's the job of the government to make sure that the opportunity to commit crime is not there. In Nigeria, the opportunity to commit crime is everywhere. So once you have the desire, crime happens naturally. So we must make sure that we tackle the opportunity to ensure that there's no opportunity. Why is it that in all other countries, people have the desire, but the opportunity might not be there? You know, in foreign countries, government watch over their people, but in Nigeria, it's only God that watch over us. So we must make sure that we put the right thing in place. You know, one, we must look at economic hardship. We must look at the welfare of the security. Two, we must have a leader that is a Nigerian, a leader that represents true Nigeria, a leader that will not sectionalize himself to saying that, oh, I'm only going to favor this part. A leader is a very sensitive position. At no time must a leader show favoritism in terms of appointment, in terms of whatsoever you do for one part of Nigeria. You know, Nigeria is this. The total satisfaction of one region is the total dissatisfaction of another. So you must have enormous wisdom to marrying and managing the Nigerian people. Once you have a leader on top who shows the right body language, believe me, Nigeria by themselves want love. Nigeria by themselves would see opportunities that will create chaos, and they will say no because they have a leader who is sure. So body language of the leadership matters a lot. Matters a lot, number one. Number two, make sure economic hardship is eradicated to as low as minimum possible by provision of welfare for the people, by ensuring that Nigerians begin to have value for hard work. You know, there's a lot of things. When we just talk about there's crime everywhere, it's not just about there's crime. What is the mother of the crime? We need to start tackling the mother that gave birth to this reward system. We talk about our youth today who do not believe in reward of hard work. It's part of it. Why do they not believe? Because we've seen our fathers who served this country, and it's time to pay their gratuity and their pension, and they're not being paid. We've seen Nigerians who finish from the university, and it's time for them to get a job. In your time, when you have a child in the university in your time, the family will jubilate that, oh, we have a son in the university. The guy becomes the hero of the street, of the area. He becomes the hope of the family. But today, even when you have admission to school, it's like a delay to your destiny. So we must be able to make sure that we have a system that will encourage the youth. We have the system that will engage the youth. We must also start involving a lot of activities into the life of those in the north. You know, when people, you know, some of this I'm saying might not actually make full sense, but for those who are into security, you understand. I have been also part of those that one of my organizations have been training Nigerian army, especially those who have retired. And some of these things are very key. Number one, when those in the north live a regimented life, those in the north only do maybe three things. They go to farm, go to mosque, and either go to work, maybe three things. Their life cycle is just revolving around three things every day. We need to look at ways to start adding more activities to the life of Nigerians. When Nigerians have more value for what they do, when they enjoy their daily life, when you wake up in the morning, when you enjoy what you do, when you appreciate your life, when you enjoy your life, you will find it hard to go into crime. So as government, we will look at involving more activities into the life of Nigerians. It's very key for us. Not just about buying equipment, not just about getting warships or killing Nigerians. It's about tackling the fundamental things that bet what's it called, insecurity, hardship. We are going to create enormous employment. Look at what is happening to all our abandoned projects. Are you aware that we have more than 4,000 plus abandoned projects at Jakarta Steel? Are you aware that the refinery, we have Warri refinery, refinery in Port Harcourt, all these refineries are functioning less than 10% of their capacity? We have a lot of, a country that cannot even produce its own steel. How can you become a productive nation? So we must start looking at everything. We must start Nigeria all over again. We must start looking at revamping everything that is dead. When we begin to do that, Nigerians will get their hands busy. Nigerians will begin to see that there is need, there is hope. And when you do those things, the belief and patriotism for Nigerians, how many Nigerians believe in Nigeria anymore? You see, patriotism only comes with benefits. When people start benefiting as the citizens of Nigeria, when they start having welfare, when they start having healthcare services, when they start having proper, when Nigerians, when we start treating Nigerians as human beings, believe me, there will be patriotism, and Nigeria will believe in Nigeria again. That by itself, I believe it will reduce the tension we have in Nigeria, and Nigeria will start. Why is it that when Nigerians leave Nigeria to other country, they become, they do not exhibit some of the things that you see them do here? Largely because they are now in a system that has a system. One of my fundamental things I'm going to do once I get into power is, first, I'm going to build a system for Nigeria. I'm going to build a system. Have you visited our immigration site? Have you visited the Ministry of Education? You see them analog in 24th century. Even a Cameroonian can pick up a Nigerian passport without query. That cannot happen in other country. We need to build a system, a system that will checkmate and make sure that every Nigeria has a digital. We have a lot of things. Even in Nigeria, we have two satellites, and those two satellites we have, one of them is expired. The second is a country that by now we should have more than 1,000 satellites. Elon Musk, as an individual alone, has over 500 satellites in space. Go and check this. As a country, we are not serious. So we need to start looking at things that will combat security. The problem with security is that we don't have a structural framework. We need to start looking at all the factors, from employment, solving economic hardship, have national integration, and through federalism, running a nation as a nation that has everybody involved in building this nation. If I say I should start talking about how we tackle security, it's the biggest issue. Believe me, this interview will just be talking about security all through. Yeah.
You mentioned something in passing, and we are all aware of the impact of modernization, globalization, digitalization, and of course, technology. How do you intend to harness those things? Because if you look at Singapore from 1965, they were a very poor nation when they gained independence, but these were the things they focused on, and of course with education, and they were able to build their economy to become one of the most powerful economic forces in Asia. Let's look at the tech world. The top 5 richest people on earth, 4 of them are tech people.
Yeah.
How do you intend, if elected into office, how do you intend to harness technology in such a way that it puts Nigeria right there with Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, right there in the front?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me say this. I'm not just, when I talk about myself as a professor, many people just feel, oh, it's a young guy and it's supposed to. I understand so many of these things. For example, I own some digital company also, and I understand deeply what it means to have a digital system. I understand what it means. Number one, you cannot have a digital economy without having a strong human capacity development. You must rejig your educational system. You must have Nigerians to have, do you know, in Nigerians today, those who understand IT are one of the most sought after employees. Many of them do not even stay in one company for too long. You know, some of them you have to run after them to get them do your job. First, human capacity development is key. We have to deeply train our Nigerians. We have to import technological knowledge to Nigerians first. We have to train those that train Nigerians to understand what ICT is. We talk about artificial intelligence. We talk about robotic engineering. We talk about space engineering, the future of technology. By now, Nigerians should be thinking about going to space. By now, Nigerians should be thinking about, so we lack that knowledge. How many universities in Nigeria is teaching space engineering? How many universities in Nigeria can adequately teach robotic engineering? How many universities in Nigeria can teach artificial intelligence? You know, I was in Louisiana when we asked a question. We asked them, one of the companies said, we want to set up an oil and gas company. Where are we going to get the human capacity? He said, University of Louisiana will provide us students that will work for us. I'm like, wow, a university. So we cannot talk about technology without looking at the educational system. And out of all the candidates, believe me, I lecture even in foreign. I'm a visiting professor to a lot of universities abroad. And let me also say this. I am the only black man, I was after leaving, the only black man on ASIC UK board. ASIC is Accreditation Services for International Colleges in UK. It's just like the NUC in Nigeria, but it's a private university board. I sit on that board to evaluate, to accredit universities in Africa that want to get recognized in the UK. Yes, so I understand this deeply. So one, for us to have a technological economy, it must start from our educational system. Nigerians must know it. Let me give an example how the Singapore, the Chinese, and the rest of them become, and even the West Indian is massive. They started by a technology called reversed technology. Reverse technology is a situation whereby you look at, is done by copying. You look at the technology that is done already by another country and you copy and you improve on it. You start from the beginning. You start from the end. That was how. So if you remember, there was a time in Nigeria we talk about Taiwan. We say, oh, Taiwan. Taiwan means that things that are copied. Oh, it's not the real one. But Taiwan now is a technological hub. So they started by copying technology. They started by training their young ones in technology. If we must get it right, we can quickly run an abridged program like the NYSC, a 1-year technology all program for all Nigerians for 1 year so that we can meet up the gap. We are far behind. If we must meet up the gap, we talk about e-commerce. Let me tell you the reason why many e-commerce companies fail in Nigeria. When e-commerce started in countries like Germany, they started with a catalog of books. They were sending books to people to check and say, oh, what do you need? Then vendors go to people's house before they now evolve into online e-commerce for companies to, individuals can go into their website and book. But even with that, they still use catalog. But Nigeria we skipped that level. We are moving from the digital to e-commerce. So we must be able to fill in that gap. And for us to fill in that gap, it comes with critical knowledge first. It's not just infrastructure. Because if you're going to get infrastructure without having your Nigerians knowing how to maintain it, believe me, your infrastructure will dilapidate. So one, we must run an abridged program focused by the federal government to making sure that Nigerian youths, and this is it, even without the federal government, if you look at what Nigerian youths are doing in the ICT world, look at companies like Flutterwave that has crossed 1 billion benchmark. There are Nigerians who are doing so well. I beg, Patricia, and the rest of them doing so well in the tech. I belong to that generation. I belong to a generation of those that understand this properly. I understand it because I also use it for my. I own an online university in Costa Rica, so I understand what it means to have to digitalize anything. That is just so. So we must do that, and that is, like I said initially, we start by capacity building, ensuring that Nigerians understand how to maintain that technology. then government will now be involved to encourage, to support, to motivate, and to create an enabling environment for technology to strive.
Yeah. Awesome. 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 With your achievement over the years, would you say you have lived an impactful life?
Okay, for me, I wouldn't say that, because there's still more to do, more to achieve. Okay, I have given over 500,000 Nigerian scholarship. I don't know, but by my own, you are an IT person. You can check, it's everywhere. I don't think maybe any Nigerian have done that privately. I've done that, and I've not. My intention is to even climb it to 20 million, have more Nigerians get education. Number two, I'm the only African, I don't know, maybe few African whose name is the World Book of Greatness in the UK. You can Google it. And that is because of the empowerment program we've been doing, without even saying so much about it. Even with all these recognitions that we have gotten, I think there's still more to be done, because if I look at our Nigerian community, I discovered that what I've done is not even up to a drop of water to solving the national problem. And that is even one of the reasons that I am being pushed or being encouraged to go for the presidency. Because I believe that politics should become, or only become, an avenue for you to do more, to impact more life. If you are able to impact the life of 1 million people privately with your personal fund, politics should give you the room to impact the life of millions, hundreds of millions of people. That is the essence of politics to me, an avenue to touching more life. So for me, what we have done, to me, is less than a drop in an ocean, considering the level of hardship, the level of illiteracy in Nigeria. Do you know 1 out of 5 children in Nigeria cannot read or write, even up till now? It's pathetic. And if we train our children and we refuse to train the children of others, what we have done is to raise robbers that will steal what our children will have in the future. I know you've heard that before.
Now, speaking about politics, you are the presidential candidate for the Accord Party. What inspired you to go into politics? And what would you do differently if you came into office in 2023?
Yes, I am. I'm already a successful businessman, and God has blessed me to this point without politics. Do you know that Unique Foundation has over 6 million membership in Nigeria? 6 million, my NGO. I am the president of Global Wealth System. It's a business community that train people. We've been doing that for the past 7 years. We train people to become a millionaire. We support them, and I do it for free. I enjoy doing it. It's about 450,000 membership. My school, the school currently now has over 120,000 students on scholarship. I do that. I do it with joy. So it means that I already have a community of about 7 million people that look up to me. It's joyous doing such a thing, seeing that you're impacting life to that, even at my age. One, I'm going into politics because Nigeria have clamored for a youth. If once you are above 45 years or 40 years, you are no more a youth. So I'm the only youth in the race. I want Nigeria to understand this. We say we want youth, we want youth. Now you have a youth. You don't want to support the youth. Number one, I know that word is eating you because you are still. So, and number two, we are in a season where, when you know you have the heart, when you know you have what it takes to fix this country, the major problem with Nigeria is that, I don't know, I'm going to say it open, is that people, those who have led us in the past, they've tried their best, but they must allow Nigeria to prosper. We are going to talk to them with wisdom. Largely, part of this country have been shared. Largely, part of this country is in the hands of people that shouldn't be. I'm telling you, we are going to revive Nigeria back and make the commoners in Nigeria, which is us, prosper again. I understand how to do it. I have not signed any contract with anybody to sell for Nigeria. to do what will not make Nigeria prosper, I think I'm the only person, because I believe also that the man that will change Nigeria is a man that will come outside politics, come into the politics and change everything and leave Nigeria better. Because I hold nobody. I'm not allegiance to any Nigerian politicians. I'm only allegiance to the Nigerian people. So that is it. So I understand we are in a political shambles. We are in an economic problem. Today, dollar to Nigeria has risen to about 600 and something naira. Look at our commodity, price of commodity out there. Look at our youth. Look at what is happening. It's high time for every Nigerian who think, not just for presidency alone, even for House of Rep, for Senate, those who have prospered in their personal endeavor, who has a lot to show, to go into politics and rescue Nigeria back into prosperity. So these are many and many are so much of my reasons why I feel that going into politics this time is the best of choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the presidential candidate for Accord Party. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a professor, Mr. You know, my mother too is a professor. So if I say
yes,
they change down for me, say no, Professor Imumolen. Now,
yes.
I want us to talk a little bit about politics. Chief Dele Momodu was on my live the other day, and we're talking about the necessity of political structure. Accord Party is going up against big established parties. I'm talking about PDP and APC, and the amount of funding these parties have at their disposal. How do you intend to compete with them with regards to structure, with regards to financing? We know the number of billions in US dollars that is needed to successfully run an election campaign in Nigeria. So how do you intend to achieve that?
Okay, number one, I understand that election is requires so much logistics. You know, we have 176,000 plus polling units in Nigeria, and it's difficult for you to mobilize logistics to all these polling units. All over the world, you require logistics, you require a lot of funds. And by the grace of God, logistics to mobilize our agents, polling unit agents, logistics to campaign is there because God has been faithful. I believe, you know, why I mention God so much is because I believe whatever you have is God. Whatever support you're going to get from people is God. It's not about shouting. It's not about noise here and there. No. It's not about that. As I talk to you, if we go to polling unit today, many people may know, I would have not less than 4 million votes now. And we still have 8 months to election. Yes, it's not about all Nigerians knowing you. It's about people that knows you, know you. I have a community of 7 million people that I've been empowering for the past 15 years. All over Nigeria. There is no state in Nigeria that I've not been to. As a businessman, there's no state in Nigeria I've not been to as a philanthropist. My NGO has a branch in all the 36 plus FCT states in Nigeria. For the past, I've been to Maiduguri, have worked with them. The oil and gas exploration in Chad Basin, it was my company that we trained the Northerner in wanting to understand how to exploit oil. So we have been to Aramoko, to virtually Sokoto, not because of politics, because of the love and things that we have been doing for all Nigerians. I've been to virtually all the states. We have people, and Accord Party, yes, it's not a small party. It's a party that has existed for 15 years. And you know, in Nigeria, we only talk about 2 parties, possibly because they are parties that have presidency and have more senators. And now we have one other party because a governor has also joined the party and is also making rounds. Fine. But the truth is this particular election, 2023 election, will be won not with noise, but with strategy. With strategy. If you look at the primaries, you hear people making noise. Those that made the highest noise were not the ones that won the primaries. Yes, I'm not trying to support the monetization of the primaries. No. But what I'm saying is this: there might be some persons who might not be making noise, and they are building structure silently all over Nigeria. If you must consider one of them, you must consider a Accord Party. The governor in Lagos is Akim Dixon, who was he has been a commissioner, has been what's it called? Has been a DG for safety. He's not a small person. Has worked with the APC strongly. Is the governor in Lagos. In Port Harcourt, the governor is a governor. Candidate. In Port Harcourt, River State, the gubernatorial candidate there is Lulu Briggs. He's not a small man. In Ibadan, is Adelabu. He's not a small man in Oyo State. So if you check the gubernatorial candidate of a Accord Party, many people are not looking. They're just looking at one. Politics is not won by one man. It's not me. If you're looking at me, you get it. You just say, oh, it's just coming to politics. You need to go into a Accord Party. Go and check who are the gubernatorial candidates. Who are the Senate? Who are those people? You will see that these persons are tough politicians. Yes, and they will become the pillar with which we'll be harmonizing our structure with. Accord Party is a structure that combines many individual structures. For me individually, as we speak now, I have a structure all over Nigeria that is over 7 million. I say this boldly, verifiable. And imagine you that now harmonizing similar structure. And what we are going to do, in the next 8 months, this campaign is going to become the longest campaign in the history of Nigeria from 1999. We have 9 months from primaries to campaign. For me, I target marathon campaign. We are going to do it slow and steady. And at the end of the day, I believe so much that I'm going to emerge victory.
Yeah. All right. What are the first 3 issues you will tackle if you are elected president?
Number 1 is digitalization of the economy. Yes, digitalization of the economy. We don't need to run analog in a digital age. Once we're able to digitize Nigeria economy, we have been able to fight corruption by 60%. So I'm not going to be one of those candidates who say I'm going to fight corruption. Digitalization by itself, fight corruption. If you run an organization and you cannot monitor what you are doing, believe me, you have encouraged corruption. One of the major drivers for corruption in Nigeria is that we do not have a system in Nigeria. So we must digitalize the economy. As I'm speaking to you now, I know what is happening in my company in California. I don't need to be there. I know the number of staff that resumes. I have the details. I have the performance invoice. I know the KPI.
Network.
Power, which is electricity. It's a major factor. By now, we are supposed to be running a 24 hours economy. In countries like Togo, hello, can you do this? In countries like Togo, we have a 24 hours economy. You know what it will mean when you run a 24 hours economy in a country? It means that you're able to provide ×2 of the job. If you want to provide 10 million jobs, then it means the barber shop that runs in the morning can run over the night. Lagos, Port Harcourt, Kaduna, and major cities in Nigeria should be running 24 hours economy. Power is key. Then third is security. Security is the priority. Security. And security comes by solving problem of unemployment, by solving problem of infrastructural decay, by solving problem of economic hardship, by making sure that there is proper federalism, by making sure that you ensure that all security apparatus are in place, by welfareizing Nigeria. Do you know what it means? When Nigeria wake up in their houses every day and they receive alert from federal government. Have anybody in Nigeria ever wake up and say, you are a Nigerian and you are receiving this money because you're in Nigeria? It's part of the welfare that is allocated to those who don't have jobs. It can happen. We have all this money. Nigeria is rich, but our wealth lies in the pocket of corrupt leaders. So this, we have over 200 problems that we're going to be facing. But because you asked what are the 3 issues, so I had to mention digitalization of economy, security, and power.
I want to ask you, if you could advise the youth on the importance of social impact, what message would you give them?
Okay, my message is simple. Number one, you must have a justification towards doing it. What is the reason why you want to impact your what's it called? Your world? What is the reason why? You must have a reason and you must be able to justify it. For me, the reason is not because I want to profit from it. The reason is because I grew up tough, hard, and I wanted to give back. Because if your reason to wanting to support people is because you want people to say thank you to you, you will not do it far. We've seen NGOs, we've seen people give, and tomorrow they become wicked. Like I said when I was telling you, I said, givers are the most criticized people in the world. Because when you open your arms to give, you attract a lot of people. And when you attract a lot of people, don't be surprised of what you get from them. So one, you must have a justification towards what you want to do. Give without asking for thank you. Give without showing off, except you have a business that is attached to that giving that will support back the giving, fine. So number one. Then number two, you must also understand where you are giving from. You can only stand to help others. Make sure you stand, make sure you don't give more than what you can give. It's very key too. For us, we dedicate a particular percentage from what we have to give. Because if you give more than what you can give, you can also fall and there's nobody to pick you up. So you must be calculative so as to know what you're doing per year. So it is good to give. It is good. It is called social investment in life. If you want to invest, you can invest by putting money in shares of company. You can also invest by investing towards helping the right people. Believe me, social investment you reap the highest from social investment, because the life of those that you touch will become an investment for you tomorrow. One of the biggest advantage I'm enjoying now is my social investment. My biggest structure today is because of social investment, things that we have been doing for the past 15 years, sum up. And that is what I'm capitalizing on to becoming hope, to getting the assurance that going into politics and going into presidency, a lot of people have asked, well, why didn't you start from Senate, House of Rep? You know, you don't know what I've built. I've built a lot of structure all around Nigeria with the party. And that is why we are doing this.
I love the way you put it. I want to ask you one more question. Let's talk about building sustainable paths for social impact. How do you think we as a country, under your leadership, can build sustainable paths? Not just paths, sustainable paths.
Yeah.
Social impact.
So one, I am one of the advocates that preach that Africans or Nigerians don't need help. What we need is investment. And for us to do that, we first must have our home, our house in order. If we must build a sustainable path, especially for investment or social, social investment and the rest, we must have our home in order. We must first and foremost deal with the issue of security, power, and capacity development. We must have Nigerians who understand how to work and produce results while they work. It's very, very important. You know, one of the biggest challenge, let me explain. One of the biggest problem of unemployment, many people don't know, is lack of trust. One of the biggest reasons for unemployment in Nigeria, apart from government policies and inadequate facilities, power, and the rest of them, is lack of trust. And that is because of the kind of harsh situation we live in. You see, the barber shop will be afraid to open another shop, even if he has the investment, because he's not sure who the person, he's going to put someone there to monitor. You know, we live in a country whereby if you establish a business and you are not monitoring that business, believe me, you might be making money for someone else. So there must be policies that will protect entrepreneurs in Nigeria. They are, but it must be encouraged. In the US, for example, and other countries, if you're employed, there are policies that protect entrepreneurs, small and medium scale, so as they can duplicate their business. Because once entrepreneur have that confidence to duplicate his business, what it means is that you are providing more job for the people. So for us to have a more sustainable path for Nigerian economy and investment, one, we must enact and implement laws strongly that encourage entrepreneurs, because number one, Nigerians are the first investors in Nigeria. While we are looking for investors to come in, we must know that Nigerians by ourselves are the first investors. It will become critical when Nigerians are afraid to invest in Nigeria, because it will become a very big problem. And we are already getting there. Look at someone like me who has 3 universities, but not in Nigeria, because the environment is not suitable enough. You know, we don't have a friendly business environment. In countries like Rwanda, you can set up a company in 6 hours. In short, the free zone in Rwanda is given to you when you set up a company for free first, before you start paying. There are things we can do. In countries like Rwanda, you have tax waiver in some investment for 10 years. In Malaysia, for example, if you invest in oil and gas, you have tax waiver for 5 years because investors are needed in that industry. In a country like Nigeria, what I would do, if entrepreneurs provide what government should have provided, they will have tax exemption and tax holiday. Because this money would have come to government, but if entrepreneurs can provide it where it's lacking, then they should be able to apply for a tax waiver. So these are things, little things that must come into the economy of Nigeria that will begin to give Nigerians confidence to invest, and it becomes a sustainable path. So one, we must work on our own first. We must make sure that we have a favorable environment, a suitable environment, a smooth and ease of doing business in Nigeria as a country. And that comes by some of the things I've mentioned before: digitalization, ease of doing business, protecting entrepreneurs and investors in Nigeria. A lot of people want to set up 2 radio stations. How do you know how you get license for radio stations in Nigeria? You know the process. You know, so these things, you know, yeah. So a lot of people want to do business. Do you know what it means for people to bring in ATM machine to Nigeria? In Nigeria, we don't. I think those who have license to bring in ATM machine are not up to 10. To bring in sugar is not up to 3. To bring in cement is not up to 5. See, we must liberalize Nigeria and make every Nigerian great. I know some of this I'm saying might be hurting some major people in Nigeria, but that is the only way out. Nigeria can have 200 billionaires in 1 year just by policy and ensuring that Nigerians are free. So these are part of the things we'll be doing to ensure sustainable investment in Nigeria. First, like I said, we need a lot of work to do at home. Once we do that, naturally investors will start coming in. Now, many of the investors that are supposed to come to Nigeria are pitching their tent in Ghana. I can tell you, many, because of our inconsistent policies. You see, many of our investors that want to come to Nigeria, they're in Ghana. Most of the headquarters of these companies are in Ghana because they feel, okay, there is a more stable business environment. We need to make Nigeria a free economy. Do you know that Nigerian visa is one of the hardest visa to get in the US? Are you aware?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you want investors. So there are things that we must, and the reason I can tell you the reason, it's not as if it's hard. It's because of corruption.
Corruption.
There are things that will be done to make this country work. See, solving Nigeria problem is not rocket science. Let us cool down. The solution to Nigeria problem is there. It's just to have a man who have the heart, who have the willpower, who would do it, and I will do it. I will do it, and I will get Nigeria back to work. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor. Are you Professor Emeritus yet or not yet?
No, I'm just Professor now. But before 45, I should be Professor Emeritus.
Can I open up the line so we can have 2 people ask you questions? Just 2 questions.
Why? Yeah, it's okay.
You guys are going to make your questions very quick and very polite. Once I see that you are antagonistic, remember, it is still my life. I will remove you. And there's nothing you can do. No Jupiter that you will call that we answer. So please, if you have any questions for Professor Chris Imumolen, kindly send me a request. I'm not going to call you from the comment section. You don't be lazy Nigerian. Send me a request and I will bring you in. Okay, so the first person I'm going to bring in is Vidoma. Now remember, keep your questions short and concise. This is not story tales by moonlight time. Quick question. He can hear you, he'll understand, and he will answer. So first, hello, Miss Vidoma.
Hello, Daddy Freeze. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Professor Chris. Good evening. It was nice having you on the live, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. Okay, quick one. My question is this, this is actually you coming here is my first time getting to know about you and to hear your experiences and your ideas about how to get a good governance in a country like Nigeria. My question is this, as a young man and as an investor and as a professor, do you think your ideas are enough to take this country further? Because first of all, let me just say, with what is happening in Nigeria now, do you really think it's based on what you have in your ideologies, like, that can move this country forward from the step it is right now?
Okay, should I answer? Okay, yes. What else will move a country forward than a man who has ideas, a man who has experience, a man that has the heart for his people, a man who have been doing it privately. Remember, like I said, most of the things that we've mentioned have done not in politics, have done it privately. If I can give a Nigerian scholarship, that should tell you that education will be free. Privately, if I've been doing that not in 1 year, for the past 15 years. Yes, thank you for seeing me for the first time. Check what we've been doing. They're all there. So one, ideas rules the world. Yes, we understand that there's a lot of complications in the Nigerian settings. But a man like me, who is going to come with love and wisdom, and a lot of political will. Currently, I just said it that I have a community of 7 million people that look up to me. Close to about a state in Nigeria and some other part of the world. Even in Togo is about 8 million people. It's a country. So I understand that. And politically, I also understand how we are going to be playing the political way to get all our ideas to work to favor those Nigerians that need them.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the question. Daddy, please, can I ask one more question, please?
Quick, so another person too has the opportunity to ask.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, sir. My second question is this: as a youth, we basically work, and as a human being, I think we basically work on what we have seen, from the root of things. We work with, as a human, we work from the experiences, from the results we've gotten from the root of the thing. Do you think running for a presidency as the first step to get Nigeria to where it is will actually encourage Nigerians to, empower you and to accept you as a president? Like, in my own opinion, I think, going from the first route will get us to know you better and to help us also say, okay, yes, this is who we want, and we shouldn't have to listen to the words and everything. We should, because he has done this and he has done this, and this is what we can really speak about him. Don't you think there is a need for that, sir?
Okay, thank you. Let me first start by answering your question. Do you know that those who built this nation did that those who built this nation did that at their youthful age? Those who fought for Nigeria independence were young. Many of them were at their early 20s, 30s when they fought for Nigeria independence. Awolowo and the rest of them, they were all young. Those, even Gowon, was a bachelor when he was the head of state. IBB was a president, was the head of state at 42 years. Obasanjo, look at their performance when they were young, far outweigh their performance when they came back at old. The youth built this nation. It's all there. It's not something that we need to. It's all there. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 1 is 1. Who built this nation? They are young Nigerians. And it's until young Nigerians come back, those who have experience, the lovely thing is that we young Nigerians today, we have more knowledge than even them. Those in those years when people like someone said Anthony Nauro, they were all young Nigerians. Mention one, those that perform excellently well as leaders in Nigeria. Check their age. They are young Nigerians. If Nigeria can see this, it's just that I don't know why history was removed from our study. Many of us don't even understand our history, because if you know our history, we're able to juxtapose to see, okay, who are those that built this nation? Those who built Nigeria did that in their young age, and that is what we need. We don't need anybody to tell us that you need to start from here. If at my age I've achieved, I'm at the apex of my career. I'm at the apex of my career. Like, I've done things that many of those at my age have not done, and we can change this. Emmanuel Macron was a president in France at 39 years. Gabriel Boris became a president in Chile, 36 years. And even in Africa now, we now have young president in Africa. In Ethiopia, we have president at 45 years. In Madagascar, we have president early 40s. Burundi, Swaziland, this scope of leadership, even in Africa, is changing. Nigeria will not be left behind. So the youth should be looking at supporting youth. And the only youth in this race is Professor Chris Imumolen. Thank you.
All right, Professor Chris, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, it's just that the video has frozen. So before we lose this video, I'm just going to ask this gentleman to ask. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, Henry. The video is taking, so I don't want to lose it. Quick question, 30 seconds.
Prof, well done. I mean, everything you said was nice. So my question, how do you tackle insecurity? How do you tackle unemployment?
I've already talked about insecurity.
Okay.
I spoke about it for like 5 minutes at the beginning of the video. Let me save it so you can have it. So what's your other talk?
Okay. Well, okay. What about education? How based on what is going on, how are we going to fund education so that education will come back the way it used to be, at least so that we can create opportunity to other Nigerians who doesn't have hope?
Okay, thank you. Let me drop this. If you are watching live,
before you answer, sir, thank you very much, Henry. I'm going to remove you so you can hear his answer.
Okay.
Sorry, Professor Chris, network is a bit. We can only see your picture. We can't see you move. So I don't want to lose the video. So just if you can answer the question in 10 seconds or 20 or 30.
Okay.
Always refer.
Let me quickly. Yes. If you are watching, if you are an undergraduate in Nigerian university and you are watching this program and you are at home doing nothing, I have presently given all undergraduates in Nigeria 100% scholarship with a foreign university to study online without paying a dime. That is my contribution to supporting Nigeria. And I'm going to call the number. Just send yes on WhatsApp. Send yes on WhatsApp to 081-327-33378. If you are a Nigerian student in any Nigerian university and you are currently at home doing nothing, I have given an 100% scholarship for you to study. 100%. Just send yes on WhatsApp to a number 081-327-33378. I am not going to be campaigning with promises. I'll be campaigning by demonstrating solutions. So please, you send yes to that line and you get a scholarship from Professor Chris to study, a scholarship worth more than $7,000. And it's available for all Nigerian students who are at home. You would see that this strike for you guys might also be a blessing in disguise. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, very well put, very, very vocal, very articulate, very intelligent, an achiever for his age. We have the presidential candidate of the Accord Party. He's been our guest for the last 1 hour, almost 1 hour, 20 minutes thereabout, Professor Chris Imumolen. Thank you very much. I'm going to stay in touch, and we're all going to monitor you and see how well this is going to turn out. And we wish you success, because Nigeria deserves, like you said, to be in the hands of a youth. Thank you for joining us, and do take care, and God bless.
God bless you, Daddy Freeze. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Let me save the live so I don't lose it.